Hey, this is Brimstone. You're watching AFK away from the keyboard. Ain't no better place to be than right here watching now.
Salute. So if you got a sonic screwdriver, let's hear it. We got to hear it. We got them. Hold them up high. Yeah. Who's excited to be here? Well, super. This is an amazing experience. We're so glad to not only for you guys to be a part of this panel, but who's excited about the 50th anniversary screening that's going to be happening? Yeah. Well, my name is Tony Kim. I write for a site called Crazy for Comic-Con. I write about comics and conventions and all things nerdy, and one of my favorite fandoms is Doctor Who. And I'm super excited to introduce our panel to you guys in a moment. One thing that we want to do as all of us share, and as some of you guys share from the audience, we want to do something called Confessions of a Whovian. And what that means is if you have a question for us today, to briefly introduce it with how you came into fandom for Doctor Who. And so I'm going to start us off, but before that, I want to let you guys know that we're going to have two lines. The first line on the right, your left, is going to be questions, comments about Doctor Who. So there's a microphone right here. This line over here is strictly for trivia, okay? Strictly for trivia on this side. So throughout our panel, every so often, we're going to stop, and our panelist is going to have some trivia questions, Doctor Who trivia questions. If you get it, we have awesome Doctor Who swag for you. Swag brought to you by the BBC themselves, and so get your Doctor Who thinking caps on, and if you want to answer some trivia, please line up over here. Again, no questions or comments, just answering trivia, okay? So, and comments over here. Well, anyway, again, my name is Tony, and, I'm kind of relative late newcomer to Doctor Who. I resisted it for a long time. I was a big fan of Star Trek and of the original series, and so during, what was always back-to-back with Star Trek back in the day was Doctor Who. And it was Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, and so, I would, we're all about affirming your favorite Doctor during this panel, but I sort of caught it sort of back-to-back with Star Trek. And so it wasn't until, my friends started telling me when Eccleston came on, and then Tennant came on. I was still resisting it during that time. Then finally one of my friends, he literally had to put me down in a chair and strap me down and made me watch season 5 of Doctor Who. And I fell in love in 90 seconds and was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And I watched through all that and went backwards and watched everything else. And so my life has been ever changed ever since. And so, all right, well, let's go down here. We've got a great panel from Doctor Who Fan Club Austin. So welcome our panelists, please. So Brian, tell us your Confessions of a Whovian and what you do for Doctor Who.
All right. Well, how I got into it?
Sure, yeah.
Is this mic close enough?
Bring it a little bit closer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. 1984-ish, my uncle. I was over at my aunt and uncle's house with spending the night, and apparently watching Doctor Who every Saturday night was something that my uncle loved to do. So I watched it, and I think I was the first to spot that blue box was bigger on the inside than on the outside, which kind of was amazing at the time, and is still kind of amazing that they hadn't noticed that. But I think they just thought it was bad production values or something. So yes, it was, and I got hooked, and I have. I learned to tell time so that I could figure out when Doctor Who was coming on every Saturday, just so that I could watch it. So, and now, all these years later, I've got a 240-page TARDIS technical manual out there on the internet, and bit.ly TARDIS Tech, if anyone cares. So, and yes, I'm up here thanks to Jewel, the amazing Jewel, who got me up here, so I
So
have
I
to
don't
give
make
credit.
I don't make any assumptions, but who's your favorite doctor?
Who's my favorite doctor? Well, I got to go with Tom Baker as my number
All right,
one,
there
but
you go.
I have a so yeah. But Eccleston number 2. So.
Okay. Julie, please go ahead.
I'm Julie Clausen. I have always loved good stories, sci-fi, geek, fantasy. I mean, my kids have middle names from Lord of the Rings, so geek world like that. I got introduced to Doctor Who. When the new series started, some friends were like, you have to watch this. And I didn't start watching it until Torchwood came on, and some friends made me watch that, and who doesn't love Captain Jack? Of course. And it took me about like an episode to realize that this is a spinoff of Doctor Who. I don't know why I didn't know that. And so, of course, I had to back up and start watching all of the new series and then trying to catch up in bits and pieces of all the old doctors. So what I do with Doctor Who, I'm a writer, and I do a lot of writing with the intersections of pop culture, spirituality, and social justice. And so I've written a few articles on Doctor Who for the Huffington Post and other magazines, and just kind of exploring the awesome themes and messages that it talks about.
All right, great. Thank you. Alice.
I'm Allison Williams, and let's see, first Doctor story. I was 10 when I first got into Doctor Who, so I've been watching Doctor Who for 24 years.
Wow.
I started with Tom Baker and K9, and I've been hooked ever since. And I'm actually a magician, and I'm going to be bringing some disappearing, reappearing TARDISes around the world. So.
All right, great. Thank you. Joel, go ahead. Pull the mic closer.
You gotta share it.
Hello, Whovians. Well, when I was a kid, I watched the Seventh Doctor on TV for a long time, Sylvester McCoy. And my mom said, I don't remember too much of it because I was really little, but my mom says I used to cry every Saturday once they canceled it and I couldn't watch it anymore. So I got back into it thanks to my husband. At the time, he was just my boyfriend. And he's like, oh, you should watch this. And we watched an episode, and I did not know what was going on. And I was like, nah. So he sat down and had me watch Blink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Threw you
after
into the
that,
deep end.
I was like, all right, yeah. Okay, I'm totally into this now. And then he decided to play me all the theme songs from Doctor Who that throughout the years, all the way up until David Tennant's era, because at the time it was just David Tennant and Martha at the time. Well, I recognized the Seventh Doctors, and I realized, oh my gosh, I found the show that I loved so much as a kid, and like the little kid in me like woke up, and well, here I am.
All right, great. Well, let's jump to our first trivia question. Brian, do you have a question for us? And we're going to go over here. So tell me your name real quick.
Carolyn.
Carol. Okay. So how this is going to work is that the panel's going to ask a question. If you don't know, it's fine. You can just go out into the back of the line. We'll just keep filtering through, and you can keep getting back in line if you want. But we'll stop at the person who has the correct answer. So go ahead.
Okay, let's see. The third Doctor once told a story about a plant that changed his whole life. What flower did he say it looked like?
Whoa, jeez. Don't shout out the answer if you know it. And if you know the answer, you better run into line. No? Nobody? Do you know it? Okay, yeah, go to the back of the line. All right. Next, anyone? Does anyone in this line know this answer to this question?
Next question.
Anybody in the room know the answer to this question? Oh, you do? Okay, come on up.
Give it a
Hurry,
try.
come on up. Okay, speaking to the mic.
An orchid?
Uh,
No.
All right. Anyone? Anyone in the room? All right, next, you had another question?
do you want the answer?
Sure, oh yeah. Sorry.
Okay. A daisy.
Daisy, okay.
It's the daisiest daisy he'd ever seen.
All right.
So,
You got another question?
okay, how about this one? Let's see. What material were the walls of a police box made out of? Not a TARDIS, a police box.
An actual police box?
An actual police
Okay.
box. What do they make them out of? Or used to make them out of?
You want to guess?
Wood? Nope.
Okay, next.
I do not know the answer to this question.
Would you like to guess the material?
Sure.
Marshmallow? No? Okay,
I could make it multiple choice.
there you go.
Multiple choice.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, let's give him a chance. You go, multiple choice.
Well, some glass for the windows.
All
There you
right.
go.
There is some wood for the doors. But let's see.
Multiple choice, quick.
Multiple choice. Fiberglass. A, fiberglass. B, ceramics. C, wood. D, concrete.
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 All right.
Yes.
Is that the answer?
Yes, that
All right,
is
great.
it.
One cool one up. Why don't you come on up real quick? And let's see. You have a Titan figure, Weeping Angel. So come on up. Where'd you go?
Wait. I'm scared to death every night.
Yeah. We made his day. Okay. So my question to the panel is that we are here celebrating not just any show. This is a show that has endured 50 years of pop culture. And so that's something that is a monumental achievement that very few properties have experienced. And so my question to you guys is what has allowed it to endure over time? And so time. And so what has allowed it to endure when so many other properties have sort of fallen away? What has allowed it to sort of transcend not just America or British culture, but then make it also into Western culture? Go ahead. Anybody?
Julie? For me, what stands out for that is the fact that the Doctor has these different incarnations that fit the different time periods. He can reflect the questions of the culture of the age, and especially the companions can be relatable over each of those periods and can address the big issues of the day and the big questions of the day. And so the ability to do that, to keep constantly changing so that you fit the culture, has really helped the show.
That's great. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else?
I definitely agree with that. I'd also say two things. One, it doesn't have a defined genre. Its storytelling style is all about hopping into other people's genres, westerns, mysteries, space opera, whatever the writers feel like. The show's designed to hop into that genre and see what it looks like when you stick the Doctor in there. So that's one thing I think that makes it very special, is that it doesn't have a defined genre. The other thing I think is that it's all about juxtaposing things that do not belong together, putting a stone angel in your living room, or a police box in the middle of a scrapyard, or just putting things that do not belong together and seeing what happens, and whether it's horrifying and scary or humorous and hilarious, like a fez on the Doctor's head. It's that brilliance that it embraces the impossibilities that makes me love it. So, and I think that's what a lot of other people, what makes it different than all other shows out there. I think that's what.
That's great. That's great. Let's go with the comment over here. We have a young man. Tell us your name and your confession of a Whovian, how you became a fan. Go ahead.
I'm 13 years old, and my dad started to get me into watching it. He was,
Parenting done right, people? Parenting done right, yeah.
I will give props for that. It's an awesome show, and my name is Quinn Rana, you could say. And I have one question. There's the Doctor was saying it was the 11th or the 12th. He got trapped in the box that couldn't be opened, and it got opened by his screwdriver. How is that possible if it can't be opened?
Are you talking about the Pandorica?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because his sonic device is his, and the Pandorica was DNA imprinted once you're inside the Pandorica, because it's the Doctor's sonic screwdriver, he was able to open it even though he wasn't the Doctor, but it does have his DNA signature on it, so he was able to open it and let the Doctor out.
My recollection was that it was always open from the outside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
So there was one time it was open? Okay. It's been
Yeah.
a while.
That's great.
Oh,
Thank you. Let me ask you guys also, we talked about the uniqueness of Doctor Who. What is it about specifically the Doctor that is so different than, that helps it stand out from other sort of iconic heroes? James Bond's been around for 50 years, but he's clearly another British property, but clearly different. And, what is it about him that has really allowed him to stand out and apart from other protagonists and other major properties?
Well, I really think that with the Doctor, anything can happen. and he can make anything happen. And it's that possibility that what draws people to him, I think. It's the fact that anything can be magical. He can do anything.
Yeah,
it's really kept the test of time. I think that's what it is.
I'd say that he's one of the very few male heroes in Western media that is not constantly being drawn into the kind of alpha male archetype. I mean, even to a degree that Spock is a professional and in control of the situation. In a way that even Spock doesn't quite touch, because he's very different and unique, and yet and offers an alternative viewpoint for ways that you can interact with the world. And for people who don't see themselves as that sort of person, this is another way to go about life.
Yeah. And I think also the fact that he's, in a lot of ways, he's a pacifist. He's not violent. He's not a violent hero, but he really sort of outthinks his opponents, and he always defers to negotiating and advocating for those that are misunderstood, which is, you see oftentimes the whole switch of something that's like ugly and scary, that the Doctor sees the redeeming, value of that. And so I think that's another interesting point.
Well, I was going to say that, similar to what you're saying, is the Doctor has the ability to make the most ordinary person. Take Donna, for example. She thought she was nothing, not worth anything. She'll always be a temp, and she's never going to leave her mother's house. And her mom always bugs her and reminds her that she's unimportant, nothing. But the Doctor sees brilliance in her and brings out this person in her that she didn't know was there. So I think that throughout the ages of Doctor Who, different time periods, we see him continuously building up his companions, even if every once in a while he has to put them down. If that makes them realize that they have something inside them that's going to make them stronger in a situation that they're in, then he does it, and he, to that sense, is a doctor. So to me, what makes him stand out is that one of my favorite lines is in 900 years, I've never met anybody who's unimportant. So, that's a really hit home point, and he really brings out the best in people if he can. So that's what I really think makes him stand out to me.
That's great. Well, let's go to a trivia question. And we have a gentleman here. Is there someone who would like to, Julie, do you have a question you'd like to go for it?
All right, let's have fun with this. In the Christmas Invasion, the first full episode featuring the 10th Doctor, what species of alien does the Doctor defeat?
Hold on, wait for the first person. Do you know the answer to this question, sir? No? All right, you've got to step aside. You get back in line, though. Try again. Anyone, do you know it? If you don't know, you have to go back to line.
Well, that was a fun wait. Let's go.
All right, there you go. Keep it coming, keep it coming. If you don't know it, you got to pass.
Think Shakespeare.
You got a very eager 11th Doctor behind you ready to answer.
Yeah.
So anybody? Keep going. No, you don't know it?
I do.
Okay, answer it.
Is it the parlor fish?
Not that one.
Good try.
Similar.
Is it the Sycorax?
Yes.
All right. Come on up. And we see many of these here, a TARDIS beanie, the hat beanie.
Very nice.
You better put that on right now. So, all right. All right. And let's go with a comment. So please introduce yourself and tell us briefly how you became a Whovian.
Well, I'm in Video Game Club, and I'll walk in one day, and they're talking about Doctor Who. I'm like, what is Doctor Who? Everybody in the club got quiet. You don't know who Doctor Who is? I'm like, what? So they make me look bad. They say, you better go home and watch Doctor Who. I watched the first episode of Doctor Who, like, oh, what is this greatness? But the thing is, I don't understand that sonic screwdriver. Why are there so many different ones, and what is it fully capable of?
Good question. All right.
Well, Just like if you go to a tool repair shop or tool shop, you'll find lots of different types of screwdrivers, not just Phillips and flathead, but all sorts of other handles, grips, designs, ones with little that turn at the top. So yeah, there's lots of different designs. What is it capable of? In the hands of Russell T Davies, anything the plot demands.
Except
Yeah.
actually opening a door.
Yeah, wood and deadlocks are about its only kryptonite. So, the thing's amazing. Can do just about anything. So,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So let's talk about really in the past couple of maybe a few years, Doctor Who's really become popular in America. I think largely because of probably the Tennant years that really sort of kind of crossed a lot of demographics at that point. But what is it to you has really caused the American popularity? I mean, now you can go into Hot Topic and get Doctor Who, all kinds of swag and Hot Topic. So, yeah, talk about just the American popularity and, its relation to the show.
Well, what I've noticed is that during the beginning of the Matt Smith era, end of the David Tennant era, there was a lot of kids that were watching it with their parents that were finally curious enough to kind of watch the show on their own. And David Tennant left, and I'm sure, and many of them were sad, but there's a lot of younger kids now that are into Matt Smith. And I think because so many younger kids are into the show now, it's really brought more presence and notice to Doctor Who, and it's made those Whovians who has fallen in love with Matt Smith go back and watch the Tennant years, the Eccleston years, the Paul McGann years. Well, there's only one movie of
the Paul McGann hours.
Paul McGann years.
But everybody else, I mean, I've met 9-year-olds that can tell me things about the first Doctor that I don't know. So, I mean, they're real Whovians, and when I ask them who made you fall in love with Doctor Who, they say Matt Smith. So I personally believe that what brought and really blossomed the American Whovian stampede is Matt Smith. That's me personally.
Yeah.
So.
Matt Smith's my doctor. Matt Smith? Anybody? Yeah. Any other comments on that?
American television isn't putting out a lot of sci-fi that goes anywhere other than the Earth right now. And so if you want to watch a TV show about going to another planet, it's either reruns with dodgy special effects or Doctor Who. And so that's a big selling point right there. I noticed the thing became incredibly popular right about the time they stopped putting Stargate out. So there's that. It's also definitely brilliantly geared for kids, and in this new nerd-friendly culture that the U.S. is developing, it's just perfect shoe-in. And, of course, it's British, and everything sounds better in a British accent.
That's right.
I would add to that, the time when it came about. We're living in this post-9/11 world where there's a lot more people asking deeper questions and wanting more than just entertainment in our media. They're wanting to wrestle with the deep questions of life. And Doctor Who became popular, I think, after the end of Lost, where we got used to a television series that asked those questions and had mystery. And Doctor Who was accessible to kids, and so kind of grew from that, saying, this is deeper, we can sink our teeth into it, and it's addressing some of our concerns that, as a culture, we've been wrestling with.
Yeah. On my flight over, I was watching Doctor Who, Orphan Black, Torchwood, and I'm realizing that I'm systematically weeding out all like the American-made shows. Now when I watch American-made show, I'm like, they talk really funny on this show. They don't, so. Hey, let's go with the trivia question. So we have an interesting gentleman right here. So we have a question. Anybody's got a question?
No.
Jewel, you have one? Or
Yeah,
okay.
Okay, here's a question for you. What is the name of the lady who was in charge of the adipose industry?
Oh, we got some.
Wasn't it just like the
Speaking to the mic.
Wasn't it just like the nanny that was her only name, right?
No.
Okay, keep it coming. Oh, so sweet. She doesn't know.
Do you know it? No? Okay, go to the back of the line.
Wait.
Try again.
Hold on. Come back. You are too sweet to
Madame
walk away.
Kavorian.
I got a question for you. What color is the TARDIS? What color is the TARDIS? All right, come on. She got it? All right, come on up.
I'm going to give her that. Oh, yeah, I
For,
give her that.
for you, I have a TARDIS necklace just for you, sweetie.
All right, does anybody else know the answer? The answer, do you want me to ask the question again?
I'm gonna say matron. I don't know.
Okay, next, please, next. Nope, okay. Anybody, next? Go for it.
Miss Foster?
That's correct.
All right. And for you, you get to exterminate. Exterminate. Exterminate.
Delete.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a TARDIS one. I'm sorry. Delete, delete. Oh. Do you still want it? All right, sorry, I got a little too excited there. All right.
I would like to ask the next trivia question to the MC. No.
Yeah, seriously.
We'll ask you a real easy one.
There you go. Okay, so now we are entering or exiting the Matt Smith era. Your thoughts on what he has brought to Doctor Who culture and kind of what is his lasting footprint on this entire saga? Yeah.
I guess I would say that one thing Matt Smith is probably the closest to the classic Doctors that any of the new, the Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith, of those three, I would say he's the closest to the classic Doctors. So I like that he brought a little more of that into it, a little more of the alienness and social social awkwardness that the other Doctors had, that they grew up on another planet and they've had to assimilate millions of different cultures. So Earth is just, occupies that little bit of his brain right there.
Very Mr. Beanish, isn't he?
So yeah, very Mr. A little bit of that, a little bit of that Bean. He's got that physicality to the role, the way he moves and looks and intently seems to be thinking about everything. You always get the idea there's a lot going on in that head. So. And that amazing hair.
That's right, yeah.
The hair has definitely been better since they rebooted the series. and the Doctor got hotter, which I didn't think was possible. But, because I grew up with Baker and McGann and Davidson, and they were older. They weren't susceptible to younger, they weren't sexy, Wait. David Tennant and Matt Smith definitely brought the sexy factor into Doctor Who, which opened up a whole new possibilities for fangirls and fan clubs and the way people think. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Great.
I want to see Capaldi do really well.
Yeah. Let's go with the comments or question. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for taking the time to bring all of us here and have a nice panel. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
I've been watching since I was 6 years old, and when I was 6, thank you. Yes, I'm old, thank you, yes, appreciate that. So what I wanted to talk about, so the idea was, at 6 years of age, I just saw a Dalek episode for the first time. And in my head, it was just on television, which means I'd seen an ad in one of the Starlog magazines that they'd given away a Dalek to these kids at a shelter for kids who are sick and dying of cancer. So what does the 6-year-old think? I know, I'll call the BBC and ask them if I can have one. I'm 6 years old, I'm living in Chicago, and I get to have my mom come home and, what did you do today? I called the BBC. I'm sorry, it's 1980-something, and you called, well, there's a BBC office in New York. Is that where you called? No, the nice operator lady was willing to help me. So I called the BBC in the UK and asked for Terry Nation. And could I please have a Dalek? I almost didn't see my next birthday. It was outstanding. No, the BBC had to tell me he doesn't work here anymore. I said, that's not true. I just saw him on TV. He has to still be there. I saw it last night. It was on TV. Are you lying to me? Anyway, so my question will stretch the technical memory of your 6th Doctor era transition. Colin Baker left under some strange circumstances, and it wasn't just because he was the heaviest of the doctors. So, out of curiosity, do you know in Trivia Land if or why he was transitioned out so quickly? Thank you.
I'm going to let one of you guys answer because we're running out of time.
From my understanding, and the issue is a bit fuzzy, but it was that the ratings were nosediving, and the people in charge of the studio, the people in charge of the money bags at the BBC says, well, you keep changing things and it's not working, and the ratings keep going down every time you change it. We will only give you another season of Doctor Who if you get rid of Colin Baker and try somebody new. And I don't think that John Nathan Turner didn't want to get rid of Baker, and Baker certainly didn't want to get rid of Baker. But it was a choice between getting the show. I think, if I understand correctly, it was a choice between getting the show canceled at the end of Trial of a Time Lord or bringing in a new Doctor. Was their choices. So.
And I do know that Baker was so distraught that they were replacing him that he refused to do his own regeneration scene. So Sylvester McCoy put on a wig and his outfit and did the regeneration scene into himself. He didn't even do his own regeneration scene because he was that upset.
And for anyone who thinks I'm bragging on Colin, just try some of the Big Finish audios that he's done for Doctor Who. They're amazing. He is a great doctor.
great.
You just got to give him some material to work with.
Paul McGann also, I believe, had some extra episodes through Big Finish as well.
Oh, yes, he's done loads of stuff for Big
Thank
Finish.
you.
Anyone who thought McGann was great needs to go check out bigfinish.com.
Let's do a trivia question. You guys have a question you'd like to ask? Go ahead. Yeah, go, Julie. Julie?
Okay.
Get ready.
All right,
Captain Jack's ready to answer.
Let's have fun. Okay. In the episode Tooth and Claw, we discovered this person founded Torchwood Institute after an experience with the beloved doctor.
Oh, Torch, look at this, perfect.
That's Queen Victoria. Right?
Yes. Good
All
job.
right, great. And come on up. And now I use my exterminate line, but it doesn't have any meaning. But you get a Dalek, Mr. Potato Head.
Right.
And let's burn. Yeah, let's do another question
Okay.
so we can get through.
How about before Gallifrey was destroyed, the experiences and knowledge and memories of every Time Lord were stored where on Gallifrey?
Well, that sounds like the Matrix to me.
That would be correct.
All right, come on up, and you have for your Doctor Who dreams a TARDIS nightlight. So. There you go. Okay, let's quickly go to. We are now beginning a new era with Peter Capaldi, and so that news rocked the world and broke the internet a few months back, and with a lot of interesting conversation and dialogue that's going on between Whovians. And so, your thoughts on what Peter Capaldi potentially will bring to the whole franchise, whatever, and basically like what his sort of what is his new sort of place in the Doctor Who era. So go ahead.
For me, as we're seeing, Matt Smith's Doctor get sadder and sadder and more broken as the things he's seen, as he travels alone, and the hurt that comes from that. He is so boyish that no longer works. I mean, and they're setting up the juxtaposition that it's hard to have this wonderful physical character and this complete brokenness inside. And so I think the roughness of the 12th Doctor will fit that a lot better and be able to express that. And I'm just really hoping to see him with River, because that would be awesome.
It's got to happen. Do we have a question we can go with? We have 3 prizes left, so do we have... Okay, go ahead, Alice.
Well, I guess I have to ask the question that everybody should know. What does TARDIS stand for?
There you go. Well, hey, keep it down. Okay. Do you know the answer? You have some very enthusiastic fans behind you.
I believe my friend Brody told me this when I started watching Doctor Who. Is it okay if I explain it instead if I don't know the answer?
Nope, you gotta know the answer.
No, you gotta know the answer.
I'm just gonna guess time traveling device.
No.
What does TARDIS stand for?
Time and relative dimension in space.
Yes.
All right. You have your own plushie Matt Smith. Let's see. He says something. There you You have another one? Anybody?
Oh, question? Let's see. It's a good one.
Or we'll go with the comment. While you're coming up with one, let's go with a question over here. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah, and about 6 months ago, I started watching Doctor Who because my anime club was like, you need to watch this. And of course, I watched Sherlock 4 times in a 2-day span. The pain. And so I essentially cut off all connections to all my friends and stayed home for 2 weeks straight and watched all of Eccleston and half of Tennant. And so my question is, who is your favorite companion and who is your least favorite companion?
We'll just keep it on favorite companions.
We'll keep it favorite companion.
We'll keep it on the positives. Favorite companion. Let's just shoot down the line here.
My favorite companion is Donna Noble.
Favorite companion, Sarah Jane.
All right, I have to go with the one off, go with River Song, because just awesome.
All right. Well, I think as far as actual companion overall, I would have to go with Ace, but Susan is really hot. So.
And I'll throw out Amy Pond because she's left out. So, all right. Just a few minutes left. Do you have anyone has a question that they'd like to throw out?
All right.
Here you go. Listen up, guys.
In Talons of Wang Chiang, the doctor gave a translation for the word eureka. What was it? We got at least one winner in that line.
We have one right behind you. No? If you've already won, unfortunately, we're going to have to pass it on to somebody else. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, though. If you want to answer it, you can answer it, but you're going to have to give the prize to someone in line. How about that? You want to come on up and answer real quick? All right, so step up. I'm sorry. Step up.
How about some multiple choice?
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Look at that. I like negotiating.
Answer A, I have found it. Answer B, let's see.
It's not
Answer
that one.
B, Leela, stop using Janus thorns. Answer C, it's too heavy. Answer D, my bath is too hot.
A.
Nope.
Oh, all right.
What? Are you serious? Sorry.
Yeah, B, C, and D.
How about
One person can only win the prize, y'all.
Yeah, there you go.
D?
D, let's see, that was yes.
All right. Great.
My bath is too hot.
A Dalek beanie to go with your TARDIS beanie. There you go. Okay, and we have one prize left. But before that, let's talk a little bit about, we have just a few minutes. This past week or two, we had the release of the prequel webisode, right? Pretty awesome. If you haven't seen it, then spoiler alert, but it's all going to become very relevant in the next few minutes. What were y'all's thoughts on? We saw the return of Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor and his transition into the 8.5 Doctor. What were your thoughts on the significance of this webisode and why it's important?
Well, first of all, I would like to say it's nice to see Paul McGann again. Yeah. The significance of this is it's going to be answering a lot of questions a lot of Whovians have had for a long time, for you long-term Whovians, and all you new Whovians who know about Paul McGann. So I love the fact that they brought back the witches of, what was it, Casanova? What was it?
Let's see. Karn, the Sisterhood of Karn. Or the Sisterhood of the Flame, as they are sometimes known.
Yes, the Sisterhood of Flames. That's who it is. Okay, I'm really glad they brought them back into the story because that was one of my favorite episodes as one of the older doctors did. And I'm really glad they brought them back. We're definitely looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I really love the fact that they gave him a choice in the potions. For those of you who haven't seen it, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's okay. So, the fact that he chose warrior, that really says something like, to me, that was a huge clue of what we're looking forward to seeing in the next couple minutes. So pay attention, you guys, because he chose warrior in this, and it caused his regeneration. It's amazing, you guys. So anybody else? Go ahead.
Well, it's a paradox of the doctor has to become not the doctor and able to finally be the doctor and heal the universe.
Yes.
I mean, that's Doctor Who in a nutshell, that paradox.
That's great.
I loved Paul McGann. I've loved him in the Big Finish audios, and it was great to see him on screen and getting to play the Doctor the way he'd always wanted to play him. And I'd also have to say that it was awesome to have the shout out to the Big Finish companions, and to see Karn again was great, and to see the Sisterhood, which according to the novels all came from Gallifrey to begin with anyway. So
That's great. Well, we're going to have to wrap the panel preparation for the screening. So real quickly, Jewel, tell us about Doctor Who Fan Club Austin.
All right, just a quick little tidbit. We got together in 2008, and we've been growing ever since. In 2009, my husband and I went to Kamapalooza and realized that there was no Doctor Who representation. So we contacted Wizard World, and we were like, you know what, let's take this to the next level. So we started doing Comic-Cons to represent Doctor Who, because Doctor Who has so many things in it that is very positive for children and families, and it's just fun to watch. I mean, you have love, you have drama, you have loss, you have friendship, you have the importance of life, you have the importance of being able to let some people go. I mean, you learn so much from the show that it's hard not to be a fan. And when we realized there was no representation in Comic-Con world, at least in Texas area, we definitely took the step to do that. And we're definitely huge fans. We love to have get-togethers, cook, have Doctor Who themed food, costume parties, family get-togethers, all sorts of things, screenings.
Where can they find more information about your organization?
Well, you can find us on Facebook. We're definitely, it's an open page, so basically you just find us on Facebook. It's a Facebook/group/DWFCAT.
Doctor Who Fan Club Austin.
Of Austin, Texas, yeah. So that's where you can find us.
Yeah. Well, let's thank our panelists for being here. Thank you guys for joining us. And I have one prize left, and I've got to give it to this amazing weeping angel right here to the side. So can you come join us on stage? Okay, I'll come to you. How about that?
We have to look away.
She can't make it on stage. And so anyway, take a picture with her. This is going to go to you. You guys sit tight or run to the bathroom. I'm going to be right back to kind of introduce the screening and share with you a couple of ground rules. But be back in about 7 minutes, or I'm sorry, in about 3 minutes.